ourselves as realtors, as developers, knowing that people are watching from everywhere. Madam Vicky said it, I do a lot of virtual tours. The partnerships I've built in Nigeria and in South Africa never came because I had this great CV or resume on a certain website. People hop on social media, type real estate in Ghana on YouTube, and definitely you're going to see my video in there somewhere. Go to your search engine optimization on Google, and I found myself in there somewhere. And so we need to learn how to position ourselves as realtors, as brokers, on all technological platforms. Because 99.9% of the time, people are either going to be on the phone, an iPad, a laptop, or a technological device. So it's easier to reach them on these platforms.
And Cosmos,
real
I'm
quick,
sorry.
to tie up Desmond's point, I want you to think back just a little bit. We, at one point, purchased homes off of paper. When the internet came out, we purchased homes and we looked at homes on big desktop computers. And some of the individuals in this room are too young to even know what a desktop computer is, which really kind of blows my mind and makes me feel a little bit old.
That's okay.
And now, individuals don't even use the laptop computer to search anymore.
Right.
They're using the cell phone or they're using the tablet device. But by 89%. That's not just the youth demographic. That is 80-somethings, 90-somethings. Your grandmother is sending you pictures and videos from the village.
And they're on Facebook.
And this is something that we never thought Grandma would have picked up or touched.
And they're on Facebook too.
I know.
Yes.
Yes.
And they take one
Now,
pictures.
back to the question that you asked, if technology is not going to create problems or, break us. What happened when COVID hit? If it was not technology, people were doing doctor's appointment by technology, by Zoom, and they were getting their medications delivered. We got stuck home and we were ordering our food and our groceries through technology, right? So we need to be prepared. COVID-19 is not the only thing that we should think that's it. There's more disasters that's coming. So we need to be prepared. It actually made us more prepared than ever.
All right, we have the next 10 minutes to wrap up. I would like to open the floor. If anybody has any contributions, any questions to add, the microphone is open. Anybody? Yes, right. Please introduce yourself. I see the gentleman and then Maya. Please make sure you introduce yourself and your question. No microphone.
I think we need to turn the microphone on. You just press.
Hello?
Right,
Great.
we can hear you. Thank you.
This is a question for Lady V. My name is Benjamin. Lady V, you mentioned international syndication of the Loop Ghana MLS. I'm curious, and excuse me if you answered it before, but locally, is the Loop MLS also linked to the more popular sites like Seso Global, Tonatone, Mikasa, for example, or is it separate and kept separate to keep the quality and integrity of the MLS?
Well, with every MLS, the first thing that you have to do is actually syndicate to the local, and then you syndicate internationally. But syndication is a very complicated thing, and it has to match. So I don't know whether it's the APIs, the tech guys here will tell me what it is. But there are certain things behind the scenes that actually has to match. And if the other platforms don't have that, then it's definitely not going to match. We're thinking of doing that because it's rather going to help, because as soon as we're able to syndicate, then all their properties are also able to syndicate, right, to international market. One thing that you need to know also is that Realtor.com only receives syndications from properties that are listed by realtors, which is going to be agents with the Ghana Real Estate Professionals Association only, because we are the only realtors. If you are outside our organization, we cannot syndicate your properties to Realtor.com because you are not a subscribed realtor and you do not abide by the code of ethics. So I remember at the time that they were developing our MLS, we had other agents in other associations that wanted to, list on our platform, the MLS. And our vendors told us they cannot because they are not realtors. So we go by strict code of ethics, and before you can join us, you have to have that, so that we can syndicate. So it's not that simple. We're trying to, but we have to do one thing at a time. Hopefully in future we can do that. We can have partnerships with CESO Global, we can have partnerships with Tonaton, but we have to agree to follow the same code of ethics.
And just a quick geeky understanding of it, I hope it makes it easy to understand for everybody. Computers and technology speak in zeros and ones. And we speak in a variety of different languages. The zeros and ones are different languages depending on how they're put together. And each system has to speak the same language. So the MLSs work with the Real Estate Standard Terminology Dictionary. If you've built your website based upon that dictionary and that language, then 9 times out of 10, syndication becomes very easy. But when you don't, syndication becomes very, very difficult. And in order to maintain the integrity of the data that comes in, everything has to communicate in the same language.
Thank you, Maurice.
All right, Maya, please.
Yeah, hi. So following on from the point you made about how now everything is becoming digitized, people are buying properties over their phones and all that. I guess if this point has already been addressed, I don't know. So for someone who is looking to expand, promote their brand, okay, as a realtor and as a developer trying to basically get more promotion, what are some of the digital marketing avenues which you would recommend? Or should we just do all of them? Or is this segmented based on your price points?
I think you guys have to do a class, right?
A class.
Maurice and Desmond will do a class
Do
on
a
that.
class
But
quickly.
let me give this
You're
tip
taking our time.
for the last one you said. I often say this: do not play the field. You don't have to be on every platform. In marketing, you need to understand your audience and their behavior. So you identify the platforms that they are on and be active on those platforms. The second tip is that not every platform gives you the features you need to promote your properties. Twitter is great, but Twitter is not where people go to look for properties. But you can have conversation using Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
So it's how you leverage the
On
platform.
the platform.
The third one I would say is that we're still in Ghana. People still think traditional sometimes. So sometimes you use traditional media, radio, TV, newsletters, magazines as a traffic driver. Because people will discover your service and your properties on those platforms, and they will go online to go and deep dive. That's where we spend most time. Is that okay? But you need to find where there's a class on digital marketing and go. These guys can, or if you find me, I can help you.
You need a coach.
So I think that basically the real estate market in Ghana largely likes to work with the people they know. And so it's easy for people to keep mentioning the same brands every now and then. And you can agree with me that if you send somebody to go buy you a powdered detergent, they'll always call it Omo. Meanwhile, Omo is a brand. Yes, so I usually advise that if you're new to a market, you should look beyond just selling your home and also selling the brand behind the development. And so on your first phase appearance, it will be good to attack all the social media or digital platforms because you're trying to position your brand in the face of the people. And now once you have their attention, once you drive the traffic towards you, once the people are gravitating towards you, then you sell them the products that you have. And that's where Nase has spoken about it very well. You look at your price point and you look at on what media platforms you can get to them. Necessarily not really saying that they are coming to buy, but there's always a conversation around somebody who knows somebody and then that's how you generate the instant traffic to you. So traditional media, hopping on the digital platforms, and I can tell you, it works. I don't know what anybody thinks, but I've done it and I've tried it, and people always ask me, how did you meet people? Because I've sold to Ghanaians in Russia, in Australia, in US, sitting in my small room somewhere in Ghana and connecting with them on social media. It works, especially in this country. Yeah.
All right. Please, start with clap for that. All right, any more questions? That'll be the last one, and then.
Victoria, Vicky,
It's
the
okay.
amount of countries that are on the Loop MLS, what are the countries? Do you have a list of those countries?
I know we go to Canada, I know we go to Australia, China, Mexico, the UK. Yes, we've had requests from these countries, and I had asked questions. I had gone to Realtor.com and asked them. We thought they were spam initially, but then when I inquired, that's when they told me that they're actually re-syndicating to these countries.
I see.
Yes.
And then
I
when-
think it's getting broader by the day.
I
They're
see.
looking to syndicate to every country.
It keeps expanding.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Maurice, what did you call the people who are in government who represent the realtors in government? You said federal something.
There are federal political coordinators.
Okay.
You do not have to be a federal political coordinator to be involved or even to go and sit in on those sessions with members of Congress and Senate. You need to reach out to your state association and your local association to identify who those federal political coordinators are. We always meet in Washington, D.C. in May, so make sure you come out to that convention and then find out when they're meeting with those elected officials when they're back home.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Maurice, would you want to announce the dates for the November conference, so if anybody is interested in attending? Oh, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Well, the Realtor
The
conference. okay.
NAR conference and Expo will be held in Orlando, Florida between November 11th and November
15th, 16th?
I believe it's the 16th. You can go to nar.realtor/event and find the expo and information there. You also are able to, we shut down Universal Studios, so if you're a member of the event, you come to the event, you will be able to enjoy and network with people from all over the world, not only at Universal Studios, but in the global pavilion at the expo and in the different global sessions. And this would be a great time to bring your projects because you will be able to expose them to over 2,500 people in 81 different countries, including Canada, a lot of Europe, South America, Central America, Thailand, China, Japan.
All right. Thank you very much, lady, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been another insightful session. We look forward to the next ones. financial intelligence. Will be done by Seth Nana Kwekudia from the Financial Intelligence Center. A very short presentation. Please, a round of applause for him.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe I'll use 20 to 30 minutes just to speak on what we need to do in the fight against, especially when it comes to the. Some of you may recall. Anyway, my name is Seth Nana Mwako. As against what is in the brochure, so it's Seth Nana Mwako. And my institution is Financial Intelligence Center. In Ghana, we are mandated for the fight against money laundering, the financing of terrorism, as well as proliferation financing. And we are set up by the Anti-Money Laundering Act. I can see other, faces here. So maybe in your jurisdiction, they may call my institution Financial Intelligence Unit. If you are from US, they call it FinCEN. So they have different names, but we all combat and also the financing of terrorism. And why are we talking about that here today? We need to talk about because it is believed that our sector is vulnerable to money laundering and also the financing of terrorism. Those who've been in business for some time, you recall that Ghana was almost blacklisted by one of the key stakeholders in the fight against money laundering called Financial Action Task Force. So whether you are in the financial sector or you are in the non-financial, in this context, I'm talking about a real estate or whether you're a car dealer in Ghana or even religious body, we all need to comply with the fight against money laundering. And as you plan to do good business, the fraudsters are also using your sector to make their ill-gotten funds clean. We have a number of cases in Ghana where people engaged in your sector, I'm talking about money laundering, and they were able to use you as conduits to wash their ill-gotten funds. We have cases in Ghana where some properties were also confiscated to the state. So it means that we need to understand our obligations under the Anti-Money Laundering Act and also per the international standards. So what I'm going to share with you is not peculiar to Ghanaians, it's international because I'm talking about Financial Action Task Force. So maybe we'll start. All right. So we're talking about our role in the fight against money laundering, and here I'm talking about FIC. Maybe it's the first time that you're going to hear or you've heard about Financial Intelligence Center. So I'll speak briefly on our mandate per the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And we also will be talking about, this key outline. For example, the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And since I'm talking to experts within this sector, the real estate, we also need to understand that there's Anti-Money Laundering Act, and also we have the Real Estate Agency Act, which was also passed in the year 2020. Myself and Vicky, we're on the governing board. I'm representing my office on the governing board, and I know she's also one of the key stakeholders helping us on the board. We'll talk about your obligations under the Anti-Money Laundering Act and sanctions for non-compliance. In case you are not aware, the Anti-Money Laundering Act treats you the same as the banks and the non-banks. So, by per international standards, there are some things that we lower the bar so then you can also be able to do or discharge your duties. So just something small about anti-money laundering. Someone is asking, what is money laundering? Money laundering, basically getting money from illegal sources and using schemes to make them look clean. So I'm going to cite an example in Ghana, or a Ghanaian and also a Nigerian. The Nigerian guy was into kidnapping in Nigeria, and he used the process of crime to acquire 2 buildings in Ghana, 2 properties. So what is the offense here? That's the kidnapping, all right? So he was engaging in kidnapping, but when he came to Ghana, he told the real estate agent that he was a consultant. He was a big man in Nigeria. So meaning he disguised himself. He didn't say he was a kidnapper, all right? We also have cases about this guy called Morris Asofadola in Ghana here. He defrauded a number of British ladies and also some US citizens. Once again, he used the proceeds of crime to acquire 2 properties in Ghana. And all these assets have been confiscated. We also have a case of a lady who was into narcotics. You may know the name, and she was arrested in UK. She used the proceeds of crime to get some properties in Ghana. So it means that our sector is vulnerable to money laundering. So as much as you want to do good business, some people also see you as a target to wash their ill-gotten source of funds. So the washing is the laundering. They are making it look clean. And they have 21 illegal sources. I can get money, and I'll engage you as an agent. Because you are not going to know your customer, you are not going to know more about me, I'm going to take advantage of that to wash my money. So basically, that's what anti-money laundering is saying. We are not going to go through all. But you can see some highlighted words on the screen. So one of them is uses or use. So the money that I've gotten from fraud. By the way, we're talking about technology. You should also know, since COVID started, there has been a number of fraudulent activities, including identity fraud. All right? So if you are in Ghana, you are dealing with someone based in US or UK or wherever, you should also bear in mind that you may be dealing with a fraudster using somebody's identity. All right, so you can later Google online and you can get more information. With COVID in place, as agents, as experts within the real estate sector, we need to put in place, controls as well. So see some pictures on the screen. So laundering, basically washing the money from the illegal sources. Fraud is one of them. Bribery and corruption is one of them as well. Any other? Kidnapping, I've given you kidnapping. Forgery, there are a number of them. Narcotics, and we have some cases in Ghana to support that as well. So for us in this room, how can we identify this person? All right, the one with the hood on, we don't know. Meanwhile, per international standards, we need to do KYC. I hope you know what is KYC. Know your customer. All right, so we speak more on that. And this is not from the Anti-Money Laundering Act. It's from the international standards. So whether you are in Ghana, you are in US, wherever, you need to comply with these standards. Now from the Anti-Money Laundering Act, FIC, we are set up basically to fight money laundering. So we gather intelligence for other agencies. We gather intel for the banking sector, all the key stakeholders. Even for independents like you, we can get information for you. So then you can discharge your duties in line with the act. We also make sure that periodically we exchange intelligence. In fact, not periodically, almost every day. We share intel with other stakeholders outside Ghana. Ghana is a member of financial intelligence centers in the whole world. So we became a member of this group called Egmont. And because of that, every day there's a request on Ghana or vice versa. We also send a request on other stakeholders, maybe to US through FinCEN. That can you give us information on this real estate agent, maybe domiciled in number 21 New York Street, just example. And we're on a common platform. So within a second, they can give us the information. And we have that in our act as well. Some of the functions of FIC, we request for information. So we can write to your agent that, can you give us information on this buyer? Okay, anyway, FIC, we've been training most of the real estate agents. There's one coming up in Kumasi very soon. We had a session last month, and someone cited example for your sector. A gentleman from Nigeria wanted to buy a house in Ghana through an agent, and he was not interested in the amount. He just wanted to get a property. So it doesn't matter how much was quoted. Let's say 20 billion USD. The guy was ready to pay. Is it not suspicious? It's very unusual. You're supposed to bargain. So I've introduced the word suspicious. It means that our sector, there will be some transactions that may not be in line with the person's profile. For example, my age is 45, just example, and I want to have 20 properties the same day using different agents. This is suspicious. Where am I getting the monies from? Okay, so per international standards, we need to report suspicious transactions to FIC. All right, all these are in the Anti-Money Laundering Act. I'll skip some of the functions of FIC. We don't need all because of time. But I just want to speak on some of the key stakeholders. So one of them is called Financial Action Task Force. All right. I know I'm not teaching. Otherwise, I was going to say, say after me. All right. Financial Action Task Force, and my bosses from US and other countries, they regulate the area when it comes to the fight against money laundering, whether banking, securities, I'm talking about investment banks, insurance, or DNFBPs. What is it? Designated non-financial businesses and professions, like the real estate agents here, all right, like the car dealers in Ghana, okay, auctioneers, accountants, lawyers. These people are high risk. In case you are not aware, when you go to a bank to open bank account, the bank treats you a high risk customer, all because of the FATF standards. FATF was set up in the year 1989 when ministers from G7 they met and they decided to put together policies and procedures for the fight against money laundering, which we call FATF recommendations. So the banks are using the FATF recommendations. The real estate agents, wherever they are, they're also using the FATF recommendations as well. Then for us in West Africa, our regional body is called GIABA, and Egmont is a group of financial intelligence centers coming together in the fight against money laundering. So if you need info from Russia, we just go to the platform. It's a secure platform. We share with our focal partners in Russia that, can you give us information on Vicky? All right, is she doing any business in Russia? Within a second, they are going to share with us. So that's Egmont, and it's from the country Brussels, as we know. All right, then FIC, we are here. Now in Ghana, in case you are not aware, we have laws for the fight against money laundering. So we have the Anti-Money Laundering Act, which was passed 2020. Before that, we had the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2008, then 2014. So Act 749 and Act 874. Then we have a new one, as you can see on the screen, passed 2020. Then for your sector, we have the Real Estate Agency Act, Act 1047. Then other relevant laws that we are using in Ghana. We are not going to go through all. Very soon there will be a guideline or guidelines for your sector. Now that we have the act, there should be guidelines. I'm talking about anti-money laundering. AML, CFT is anti-money laundering. CFT is combating the financing of terrorism. So in Ghana, when you go to the banks, they have the Banking Act, they have the Anti-Money Laundering Act, they also have the AML, CFT guidelines. So it's something that myself and Madam Vicky and the other board members you are looking at. So then there will be some guidelines for the agents as well. What about the institution we have in Ghana? So we have at the presidency, we have the IMC on anti-money laundering, Interministerial Committee on Anti-Money Laundering, headed by Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister of Finance. So in Ghana, these are the key stakeholders. Then the law enforcement agencies, the Bureau of Intelligence, or you call them BNI, or National Intelligence Bureau, which is NIB, that's their new name. EOCO, Organized Crime Office, and all these key stakeholders, they also have their heads meeting periodically to discuss money laundering issues. And sometimes the discussions do cover your area. Because a number of people are in Ghana buying properties. How do we know them? All right, so we discuss some of these as well. FIC is in the middle. As I said, other countries, they call their financial intelligence units. So we are always in the middle, working with your associations, working with the regulatory bodies, working with the reporting entities like the banks and the non-banks, also working with law enforcement agencies and prosecutorial authorities in Ghana and also outside as well. We had a case where someone is in your sector and she was dealing with a party outside Ghana and she wasn't sure, so she wrote to FIC. FIC, can you confirm whether this entity in Turkey is authentic? So we engage our counterpart through the Egmont platform, and they said that, yeah, this entity is very genuine. However, in terms of beneficial owners, I hope you know the concept, the BO concept. Okay, so the BO concept, basically, who is the owner of this institution? So Turkey said that we don't know who is the ultimate beneficiary, who is the owner of this entity. So we needed to share this info with the lady in Ghana. These are some of the benefits of joining some of these groups as well. What are we supposed to do when it comes to money laundering in our sector? I told you that per international standards, your sector is high risk for money laundering. I'm an assessor for ECOWAS, and my last country was the Gambia. If you go to the Gambia, they've also started doing real estate activities, but in terms of supervision, there's no supervision. So in West Africa, I think Ghana, we are doing well. At least we have a legal framework. I'm talking about the Real Estate Agency Act. If you go to other countries within ECOWAS, they don't have. So that's a plus for Ghana. We need to do more, like what we are doing this week. You know, even Ghana, I'm talking about FIC, we are going to report on. Okay, so we need to put in place some of these to make sure that criminals are not using our sector to wash their ill-gotten source of funds. It is believed that for our sector, people may front. I'm talking about trust. So I need to get some properties in Ghana, and I'm armed robber. So once again, we have a case of this notorious armed robber who was engaging in your sector. This guy never used his name. He used a third party to get the properties for him. All right. So because of that, your sector is vulnerable, and we need to protect that sector as well. Because of offshore activities, we need to protect our sector. Then the beneficial ownership disclosures. Some people are not ready to disclose who is the ultimate beneficiary of these properties. So for example, if you want to know who is the owner of this hotel, we may need to engage registrar of companies in Ghana before we can get to know. So because of that, we need to be informed, then we can protect ourselves. Also, some of these PEPs, in case you don't know, PEPs is politically exposed persons, all right? Like the president of Ghana is a PEP. If the president is my friend, I'm also a PEP. Now, let's say the big person wants to do money laundering. He or she is not going to use the account. They will use a third party. So they may use my bank account to get the properties for them, register the properties in my name. Because of that, your sector is vulnerable. So that's the last paragraph you see on the screen. Per international standards, we call you gatekeepers because you open the gate for people to come in. So like the lawyers or the notaries, we call them gatekeepers. And because of your position or your role, you're very critical in fighting money laundering. But here's the case that people are using us as conduits for money laundering activities. What are obligations under the Anti-Money Laundering Act? Or what are obligations under the international standards? Whether you are from US or UK, wherever, what do you have to do so that people do not use you as conduits? So from the screen, as you can see, the gatekeepers are supposed to implement anti-money laundering measures or compliance. So one of them is that we need to know our client, those who show interest in getting properties. How well do you know them? Do you consider their age? Do you consider nationality? Do you also consider their source of funds? No, we don't. We are just interested in selling, and that's where we become vulnerable. So we need to do that as well. By the way, this is not from the Anti-Money Laundering Act. This is from international standards. That's the Financial Action Task Force. This body blacklists countries for non-compliance. So when Ghana were not doing well, we were almost blacklisted. So that's what I'm talking about. So what can we do as an agent here? We also need to do proper due diligence on our clients. And sometimes we may even engage other stakeholders. So let me cite an example. Someone wants to sell property, let's say a land. It's important to know who is the ultimate beneficiary or who is the owner of that land. Okay, are you supposed to engage register of companies? Are you supposed to engage lands commission? You know, you need to engage all these stakeholders so that you can do proper due diligence on the transaction. Also, anytime you come across any transaction which is suspicious or unusual, meaning it's not in line with the person's profile, the guy is at the university but he wants to have 2 properties the same day and he's not ready to disclose the source of funds. As much as you want to sell your properties, per the Anti-Money Laundering Act, per section 42 of the act, you need to know that person very well, and if it is suspicious, you need to escalate it to FIC. And these are some of your obligations per international standards. Then you need to keep records as well. Record keeping is one of the recommendations called Recommendation 11, which is international standards. So you need to keep records. If you don't keep records, FIC writes to you that we want information and you are not in the position to give us the information, you can be sanctioned for that as well. So what do you need to know under the Anti-Money Laundering Act on record keeping? The act says that you are supposed to keep records even after 5 years of terminating business relationship with you. So I bought some properties 2 years ago. You're supposed to keep my records. Even though after 2 years I'm not doing business with you, you need to keep records. So you keep the records till 5 years time. And even after 5 years, you can even, outsource it to a third party to, archive the records. So there are obligations when it comes to the anti-money laundering. Non-compliance, I just want to say that if you allow yourself to be used as conduit for money laundering, you can be jailed for 10 years per the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Also, you can be asked to pay, and as you can see from the screen, in terms of percentage, 100% to 300% of how much has been laundered through you. So that's individual. What about a corporate entity like ABC Agent? It's from 300% and there's no cap. And I always say that in Ghana, we have seasoned judges who are well versed in anti-money laundering. Those Ghanaians here, one of them is called Justice Efia Sewabotwe, very powerful woman. This woman can punish you for allowing yourself to be used as conduit for money laundering. So I've just given you a name, all right? So I just want to let you know that there are sanctions for non-compliance. As you expect the banks to do more checks on you because you are a customer or a client, the same way the Anti-Money Laundering Act also requires you to do more checks on the buyers and the sellers that you are doing business with. And these are to be done to meet international standards. Okay, I think I will end here. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, I know this is not in line with your discussion, but anti-money laundering measures are very key. So if you have any questions, I'm more than ready to take them. Thank you.
Any question here?
Okay, since there's no question, thank you very much. All right, okay.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so we draw the curtains to today's sessions. We start tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. Thank you very much for joining us. Today is day 2, tomorrow is day 3, and we'll have day 4. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.